Hello, everyone. What you guys think? I don't know what to think. I do not know what to think. I don't know. I did not see that coming. I didn't see it coming. Thought it was terrible. How am I supposed to sleep? Question. If Thrawn is so concerned by not being bested by a Jedi again in reference to Ezra, why not deploy those TIE fighters, I don't know, like 10 years ago? There's a lot of stuff like that we'll get into. The Night Sister magic. Alright. Well, let me give a poll. Start a poll. How would you rate episode 8? 9 through 10, 7 through 8, 5 through 6, 4 dash below. Right? Start poll. It was good, not great like the rest of the show. I think the finale was fine, 8 out of 10. I found it good, but overall there were definitely some problems I had with it. Interesting. Okay. Time for me to explain my thoughts. Overall, there's two I have two opinions on this episode. There's the contents of what happened throughout the episode, and then the way the season left off. Because I thought the episode was really well done. There was some great moments with Ahsoka, some good moments with Sabine. She has the Force. Awesome moments with Ezra. I'll be honest, until they showed Shin at the end of the episode, I completely forgot about Baylan and Shin. Like, completely. I was like, oh shit, Shin and Baylan are supposed to be here. 7 out of 10. I'm between 8 and 9. If Sabine didn't use the Force, it'd be a 10, though. I don't mind Sabine using the Force. But hey, we can, spoilers. Look who showed up again. Oh, it's Anakin. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Looks old. You look old. There's so much to uncover. I feel like, what would you guys prefer to talk about? Just like the actual episode and what happened? Or like how it ended? Because I feel like that's going to be the most controversial part. Ahsoka and Sabine are stuck on Peridea with Shin and Baylan. Shin and Baylan weren't in the episode, really. I feel bad because some people were hyping this up as like Ray Stevenson's last episode, because it is really the last thing he ever filmed, and he just stood there. Of course, you can't like have Dave Filoni like redo everything. Yeah, you have to recast Baylan. You just have to. I saw someone earlier in the Chadwick Boseman and T'Challa, and I just think there's a really big difference between someone like Chadwick Boseman or Carrie Fisher and Ray Stevenson. Ray Stevenson did not play the most important character in this show. Clearly, they're setting some things up with him. You can't. A lot of people saying it felt rushed. I'm not sure I agree. I'm calling it now. It's going to be like Mando, and the next seasons are going to flop hard. I don't agree. Anakin is wearing his Episode 3 outfit again. Not that it's important, but I find it weird because of Return of the Jedi and the novel from a certain point of view. I don't care. They should do an animated special to cover Baylan and the Mortis Gods since Ray Stevenson is dead. They're gonna recast him. Like, I just, they have to. You can't just get rid of the character. It's like they're setting up something big with him. What's interesting, I don't know, a lot of people are harsh on this finale, and I think they're just, you didn't get a lot of Baylan and Shin, and Ahsoka and Sabine are now trapped on Peridea. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. So there was the character arc stuff with Ahsoka and Sabine. Of why Ahsoka was so hesitant to train Sabine, that she was afraid that Sabine would like turn to the dark side because of her the loss of her family. I thought that was a really good reason. I didn't think about that, so I liked how they included that. And then like I'm just not the episode itself. I thought there was good tension between saving Thrawn. I liked how they got Ezra there. There's a lot of moments in this episode. I guess we can talk about the episode where easily like Ahsoka could have been killed. Like Ahsoka's fighting Morgan, and then the zombies surround them and like don't shoot. And then once Ahsoka kills Morgan, then the zombies start shooting again. So the little shit like that is like, oh come on, plot armor. I think just the most content enough for season 2. Like, if you guys had a season 2, right? And then I didn't notice this at first, but it's the father, the son, and I guess the daughter, and the statue's broken. So there's some Mortis stuff here, which I know a lot of people are going to get excited about. Ezra is the best Rebels character in the show. Hera does nothing. Sabine is only okay, and Thrawn is good but not great. I liked a lot of the characters. I really did. So yeah, it's so weird. It feels like season 2 of the show if they do it. I mean, they're not going to just drop this story, right? Like, Shin, there's a reason they showed Shin. She's going to the Marauders or whatever. Baylan's doing stuff with the Mortis Gods. Ahsoka saw Morai, as you guys say in the chat. And Sabine and Ahsoka are now Jedi, so it's like season 2 is just going to have nothing to do with Thrawn. And I think I'm okay with that. It's like you're going to do stuff with Thrawn elsewhere. Ezra's back with Hera. At first, I was a little thrown off that Hera is like, didn't immediately run and go hug Ezra. But now that I think about it, it's like, oh, if Ezra's back, that means Thrawn's back too. So I kind of get Hera's, like, the little bit of horror that she expressed, because I'm sure she's beyond grateful to see Ezra, but she knows what seeing Ezra means. Like, that's why she had this look like, oh shit, Thrawn's back. So, yeah, I get it, but and that made sense to me. Characters don't have that many, like, emotional reunions. But yeah, Thrawn's back. They're doing stuff with Dathomir and dead people, which is really interesting. See, there's a lot of just cool concepts here, and I don't know where they're going to take the show. It's like, Ahsoka Season 2, what are you going to do? They're going to go back and rescue Ahsoka and Sabine? Maybe they're going to do some shit with Mortis and then the Mortis Gods, and then that's how they're going to get back to the main galaxy. I don't believe that, like, Ahsoka and Sabine are going to be stuck there forever. Like, this can't be the end of their story. That would just be if Dave Filoni just was like, yeah, Sabine and Ahsoka, they're done. Just, like, would be really interesting. Cool series, I give it A tier. I think the consensus of this show is going to be that you really needed to watch the animated shows to get what was going on. I think that's just really the consensus, because as someone who watched the animated shows many times, I really enjoyed this show. I enjoyed this finale, and I'm interested to see how they're going to continue it. But for those who didn't, I wouldn't blame them if they weren't invested. Cameron Moneypenny says, the Goldman not talking about Anakin. What is there to say? He showed up. Cool. Season 2 will switch between Thrawn getting the Imperial Remnant back together, Ahsoka, Sabine, and Shin getting back, Baylan becoming one with the Force. I have no clue what they're going to do. Just absolutely no clue. And I think that's exciting. I'm still, I don't want to say conflicted, because I'm just not sure how to feel yet. And if you notice, there was something in the distance here. If you look on the top right of my screen, like, I can't show you my mouse, but right above the in the Goldman, there's like a little light there in the distance. I got Lord of the Rings vibes. Like, he's looking at Mount Doom. What do you guys think that is? I just don't know. Time with Skeleton Crew for adventures? Maybe. I wonder if they're really going to do that. If somehow Skeleton Crew is going to tie in with this. I think people expected a lot of different things from the finale of the series. Like, big answers, and we didn't get it. Like, we don't know what Baylan's up to. We know it has to do with the Mortis Gods, right? But what specifically does he want with them? I don't know. How does he even know about the Mortis Gods? What did Thrawn bring back from the catacombs? I believe it's just zombies. I think that's the implication. Stop touching my face. Sorry, I like touching my face. Probably an old Force temple. So there is material here for season 2. Abeloth, I know Jack about Abeloth, so I can't really comment on that. Let's pull up the poll. What do you guys think? 48% said 9 out of 10. 37% said 7 through 8. That's interesting. This is really tough. It's not very conclusive, and I like that. I like that there's more room for a second season. I wonder how frustrated people are going to be with few answers, especially since the lack of answers really revolved around Baylan, and Ray Stevenson's gone. So I'm sorry, they just need to recast. I can make a whole video on this or whatever, but they just need to recast the character. Like, they have to. There's been plenty of actors who've done. Black Panther was a little different. There wasn't an ongoing story there. T'Challa's story ended. Carrie Fisher is the only exception because Carrie Fisher is Leia. Like, she played that character for over 40 years. The daughter's head was missing from the shot of the statues. Ahsoka will restore balance here. But I just don't know what that means. Like, people bring up restore. I don't think this has to do with some galactic force thing. Like, maybe Baylan just wants to do something. It's interesting. I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I don't mind it. I think people just expected Baylan and Ahsoka, Shin, and Sabine to have a larger role in what's to come, and they're not. And they're going to have to come back to the main galaxy somehow. I just refuse to believe that Ahsoka's story is going to end here. And I mean, Sabine's there, Ahsoka's there. Sabine has the Force now. I don't know. I don't mind it. What are your guys' biggest issues? We can speculate. I'm honestly, I'm a lot more interested in speculating about the future than just talking about what happened. Because I thought a lot of it was well done. I thought it was paced well. I thought there were some great shots with the lightsaber duels. Like, there were some shots between Sabine or Ahsoka and Morgan. Like, this was a really good shot. Like, they held this fight for like 8 seconds. That's a long shot for a lightsaber duel. Like 8 to 10 seconds. That's a long shot. So a lot of the fights were done really well. I loved Thrawn's final conversation with Ahsoka, where he's like, "You're like your master. I predicted what you were gonna do. Haha. This is my victory." I wish there was a bit more. I think I expected Thrawn's return to have an immediate impact. Like, oh, Thrawn's back. He's attacking the New Republic. But it appears that he's now just going to build stuff up there. And I think people expected this really big cliffhanger. And it was only a kind of cliffhanger, right? Because there's clearly going to be more story to tell. But nothing like dire to see what's going to happen next. Ahsoka Season 2 needs to be released before the movie. Yeah, probably. I wonder who a good recast for Baylan would be. Don't ask me who I think they should recast, because I'm just not. I'm not the person qualified to answer that. But he just needs to be recast. And do you guys feel like bad at all? At first, this was funny. At first, when Shin showed up, I thought she was going to Sabine and Hera. Sabine and Ahsoka. I keep on confusing the names. Sabine and Ahsoka. And I thought she was going to be like, okay, I'm here, I'm screwed, whatever. But she's like, no, she's going to the Marauders. I'll be honest. This is, how far into the episode? This was 30-something minutes into the episode. 36 minutes. I completely forgot about Shin and Baylan. Completely. Like, they didn't cross my mind once until this shot. I don't think that's a good or bad thing. They had a lot to wrap up. They didn't wrap everything up, and that's okay because there's going to be a second season. I think we want more solid answers. Instead, we just got vague hints like, oh, Shin's going to do stuff with the Marauders. Baylan's going to do stuff with the Mortis Gods. Do you think that Thrawn's return will actually unite the Imperial Remnant, or will be the Warlords continue to prioritize themselves? I think there's going to be a united front. I think that's what Dave's going to do. That they're actually going to... Thrawn's going to build an army to pose an actual threat to the New Republic, and then there's going to be maybe not a big war, but a big conflict. I feel like Sabine sucked in this show. She acted selfishly and foolishly in the beginning of the show, and some of her acting wasn't strong. Yeah, what's her name? Natasha Liu Bordizzo, the actress of Sabine. There was some points in the show where I felt she could have been better, but I didn't mind it too much. I just don't have high expectations for acting in Star Wars. Not saying she was bad, of course, but yeah. I know I liked Sabine a lot in the show. I thought she made human choices. Her decision to essentially risk the galaxy to find Ezra, I just found to be a really human decision. And I kind of get Ahsoka forgiving her in the end. It's like, oh, you got to be there for your student, and she wasn't in the beginning. So I liked the characters. I think in the beginning of the series they could have done better things establishing this arc that Ahsoka goes on. Because I think when the series began, a lot of people just felt she was a little out of character instead of her being flawed. And then that she went on this arc that still wasn't all that clear. I mean, when you have a bunch of debates about what Anakin's lesson really meant, then the message wasn't that clear. And then we'll get... I don't know. I don't know what to speculate about. For Shin, I think she's going to gradually turn towards Ahsoka, and I think it's possible that her Marauders will team up with the Noti. Is the Noti the name of the little turtle people? I love the part with Ezra making the lightsaber. Oh yeah, Ezra made the lightsaber. And you know what's funny? Does this show how much of a geek I am that when Hu Yang handed him like the little top part, I'll move the Goldman logo. Like this little top part here, like I was like, oh, that's Kanan's. And he's like, I only gave this piece to one other person, Kanan Jarrus. And I was like, I'm such a dork, I knew that. In the Filoni movie, we're going to see the Imperial Remnant evolve into the First Order. I don't know. I think Thrawn's going to get defeated. And I think there's going to be, like, this Empire won't be completely defeated, and then that's when they kind of go into the First Order. They did not pay off Sabine and Ezra at all, and Ahsoka's arc was not set up at all. See, that's where it's tough. It's like, I don't think the show did a good job setting that stuff up and paying it off, but because I watched the animated shows, it did kind of pay off to me. And when I inevitably do my video on it, that's going to be the main... discussion I have. It's like you really need to watch the animated shows, and if you don't, you're gonna miss a lot from the series. And what are the consequences of that for the Star Wars audience? I don't know. I wonder if the Noti have a home base, old ruins, something. I'm just really curious what the future holds. There's going to be a season 2 of Ahsoka. I really think season 2 of Ahsoka is going to have nothing to do with Thrawn and Ezra. I find it so interesting that they spent this whole emphasis on finding Thrawn and Ezra. They found them, and then Thrawn and Ezra are the ones who ended up back in the galaxy, and Ahsoka and Sabine are the ones trapped. Could someone help me out? What movie? Chance Terrelmas? Sorry. Dave Filoni is getting his own movie to direct. And they announced that it's going to take place in the era of The Mandalorian in the show. So we all assume that that movie that Dave is directing is going to be the culmination of this story they're building in the Mando-verse. The Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and Ahsoka. And Skeleton Crew is also going to take place in this time. So we assume that's what's going to happen. That Filoni's movie is going to have to do with Thrawn and the Empire and Ezra and maybe Luke. So that's kind of the assumption there. Ahsoka transcends into the daughter, and this is about restoring balance with Anakin as the father. Baylan is going to free the mother, and Ahsoka will have to play Luke's role before transcending. See, I don't like that, Sean W. I don't like I never liked this idea of, Ahsoka becoming, like, the daughter, and then Anakin was the father, and all this, like, Mortis metaphors. But they clearly are doing something there. And they could do some really cool stuff. They could do stuff that I don't like. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't know how this series is going to age. That's a really interesting question to me. And what do you guys think is in this distance there? Like, as I pointed out before in the top right of the screen, there's like a little beacon there. And Baylan has no problem. Because what did Baylan say? Baylan said that there's a cycle that goes on forever, and of like the Jedi falling and the Empire rising and war, and he has a way to stop it all. I just don't know what that could mean. It seems that the new Boba Fett doesn't want anything to do with the Empire in any form. Oh yeah, it doesn't. Honestly, season 2 won't be the same. If they focus on Ahsoka, the story will be kind of boring and empty. But if they leave too soon, then the ending is ruined. I disagree. I think if they establish the plot well in the marketing of a season 2 that has to do with Peridea, maybe Baylan gets some more power or whatever, it's certainly possible. I see there's 250 viewers. Wow. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting the like button, I would really appreciate it. Abeloth's prison. I need you guys in the comments to explain to me, like, what Abeloth did. Like, who is Abeloth? I've heard of the name before. I know absolutely nothing about the character. Absolutely nothing. I'm a Star Wars geek, but I've never gotten into a lot of the EU stuff. So you guys in the chat explain to me more about Abeloth's lore. I hope they don't use the father and brother too much. I hate that idea. I love that Baylan made a bigger cape on his travels. Yeah. The opening scene of them enhancing Morgan was chilling. Yeah, that was cool. The mother. I don't know what Abeloth is. Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know either. Wow, I'm curious what people on Twitter are saying. And Lunga is like, I'm conflicted, let me sleep on it. Yeah, wow. Abeloth is the mother. She was a servant of the Mortis father and became mother to the son and daughter. She's basically like a Lovecraft-like character. I think Thrawn could reunite remaining Imperial remnants, Shadow Collective, and possibly repair his Star Destroyer to full operation. She's the mother to the father, daughter, and son, but she's not immortal. She was mortal and was dying and went to a well of force energy and corrupted her. Owl is like the avatar of the daughter. Abeloth is kind of terrifying character. There's so much symbolism here, and there's so much to take away. Like, just the simple shot of the Mortis Gods here means so much. And I love how dramatic Baylan is. Like, he had to walk on the hand. He's probably like, okay, this is a cool shot. Now let me walk back around and go around. Thrawn's shipment was bodies for an army, right? Yeah, I'd presume so. And we saw those zombie stormtroopers are not, like, you can't just, like, shoot them in the chest or whatever and have them die. Like, you need to cut off their head. They're, like, actual zombies. And I thought that was done well. I thought the zombie part was creepy. It was interesting. It makes sense with the Dathomiri magic. This was another funny part of the episode where Ahsoka's, like, telling everyone else, like, you go, I need to fight Morgan. And, like, they just, here, like, Sabine and Ezra just, like, walk past Morgan when Sabine could have just taken out her blaster and shot Morgan, like, right in the head. And it would have been no biggie. Nitpick, kind of, not really. The zombie troopers are not playing. The shot of the Mortis Gods is so interesting. It is. Like, if you had to ask me to rate it right now, I wouldn't know. Because my mind is conflicted with my heart. And I think that's just the unsatisfying nature of not getting all the answers. But I can't think of a reason why I don't like the episode. I just don't feel entirely satisfied. Maybe it's just because I really wasn't expecting that. And I'm not sure I like the decisions that the series ended on. Like, what are Sabine and Ezra going to do? Or Sabine and Ahsoka going to do? And they kind of just switched places, right? And what did, like, Sabine feel? Like, she feel Kanan? I like the relationship, and I'm glad to see it build. Yo, what up, Goldman? What's up? Who do you think will make the music for the movie? Goranson or Kevin Kiner? Probably Kevin Kiner, because that's, like, he's more closer to Filoni. Morai is the daughter, and that's why her statue is missing. But her statue is not missing. It was destroyed. Great episode, not gonna lie. 8 out of 10. I'd give it an 8 or 9 out of 10. That shot of Baylan and Lord of the Rings Guardians were so cool to me. Yeah, Sean W., I instantly thought about Lord of the Rings. I was like, oh yeah, this is Lord of the Rings-esque. I don't know what to speculate about. Because we don't have confirmation of... I think what makes it so peculiar and potentially unsatisfying is we don't know the future of this story. Like, we know there's going to be a movie, right? We know there's Skeleton Crew, which takes place in this Mando-verse, which may or may not have anything to do with this storyline. This is Mando Season 4. We assume there's a second season of Ahsoka, but we don't know. And if there is a second season of Ahsoka, are they going to cover both Thrawn's campaign and what's going on here? I think there's really interesting ways to make season 2 work. Keep in mind, Ahsoka and Sabine are trapped in this galaxy, right? Not necessarily this planet. It's a whole galaxy that they're in, right? They could go anywhere. Now, sure, they may not have mapped star charts to hyperspace, but maybe other people come visit them. Maybe the Marauders have like connections, and then they explore the parts of the galaxy. I think there's endless potential to do stuff with Sabine and Ahsoka. I don't think they have to be stranded on this planet for another 8 episodes if that's how long season 2 is going to be. I thought the show overall was good, but I felt like the magic wasn't there. I'm super curious to see more, and incredibly curious with the ending in regards to Baylan. For me, it just didn't have the fantastical fantasy aspect I felt with Rebels and Clone Wars. I think a lot of that has to do with the nature of the Disney Plus shows. I think the way they do these shows is very limiting and leads to a lot of people not becoming invested. I think The Mandalorian was probably the best it ever got, but these shows don't really feel like shows. They feel like long movies that are split into 8 parts. And I'm not sure that's a good thing. Like, I think if these shows were really longer, then it could feel like an actual show. And there were 10 episodes, each one's like 50 minutes. My main gripe with this episode is that super inconsistent with itself. In some shots, lightsabers can decapitate or go through armor cleanly. In others, it literally bounced off with each hit. Really? I didn't recognize that. Skeleton Crew could connect to the dead Night Sisters on Thrawn's ship. Maybe. I wonder if Skeleton Crew is going to be about kids, because we know it's going to be about kids, right? And I think it's kind of going to tie into the Jedi. I wonder if these kids and whatnot are already in this other galaxy, and then they find Ahsoka and Sabine and Peridea somehow. Or maybe they manage to get to Peridea if they're in the main galaxy. I think they're not going to leave the planet to prevent having to explain Ahsoka's absence from the sequel trilogy. You just don't need that. I don't agree with that. They barely explained Ahsoka's absence from the original trilogy. What, was she just chilling on Malachor for the whole time? There are so many ways you could explain where characters were during the events of the sequels. You just really can. You could say the sequels didn't focus on that. Ahsoka was across the galaxy during the events of episode 7 and 8. And then during episode 9, she was kind of with the Resistance, but she was somewhere else. But then she showed up on Exegol. Like, it's really easy to explain where certain characters are during the sequels. It's just really easy. Maybe there's a portal to Mortis? Maybe. Thrawn and his crew were there for 5 years. Kind of 10. And he was so spooked to leave the system. I wonder if they were in that galaxy's version of the Unknown Regions. That's kind of like the entrance of the galaxy, Eric. So I don't know. The only Disney Plus live action show that feels like an actual TV show is Andor. Yeah, because Andor had 12 episodes. I think Andor and this half of Ahsoka are the best of the recent TV shows. Ahsoka is weird to me because I feel like the quality of the season is kind of like a bell curve, where it kind of started off okay. It got really good. It got really good in the middle. Like episodes 4 and 5, I think, were the best. And then it kind of just tampered off a little bit. It didn't go... I don't think it sucks. It just, it didn't reach the highs of episodes 4 and 5. I want to see a reunion with Thrawn and the other Imperial remnants. I don't know what the future holds. Like, what show is going to involve Ahsoka and Ezra and the New Republic? Is it going to be The Mandalorian Season 4? Maybe. What if the Mortis stuff will be part of the Rey era? So what, Ahsoka and Sabine and Baylan and Shin are going to be there for another 20 years? Like, maybe. 30 years, really. Because this show takes place, we'll say 10 ABY. The sequels are 35 ABY, so it's 25 years away. And then the Rey movie takes place another 15 years after that. So if we wanted to take the chronology of this series to the new Rey movie, it's going to be 40 years. I am so disappointed by the ending. I want to know what are they specifically disappointed with? Bro, that show was actually an incomplete story. This should have been structured as a one-off and completed the entire story. I disagree. I think we'll have to wait and see what happens next. I knew my theory was correct, and theory fans just assume they are wrong. We talking about Star Wars theories still? Like, dude. They can time travel if Dave wants. No, it's not happening. Imagine Thrawn gets back and realizes all the remaining Imperials are incompetent. Well, the Empire was always kind of incompetent. Did you guys not watch Rebels? I think Ahsoka Season 2 will strictly cover Peridea. Mando Season 4 will cover Thrawn, and Skeleton Crew will cover Dathomir, which is rumored. Maybe. But I'm curious how... It's weird because the Ahsoka show now has completely diverged from the Thrawn story. Like, the Ahsoka show we assume is going to be about Baylan and the Mortis Gods and whatever. And it seems like it's not going to have anything to do with Thrawn. So it's like we're going to have to watch another show to get the completion of that story. And I think that's what a lot of people get frustrated with, is that the Mando-verse is essentially like the MCU. You can't just watch Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. You can't just watch Avengers 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like, you need to watch all the trilogies, most of the Captain America trilogy is not a complete story. It's not. It's missing so much of Captain America's story. Same thing with Iron Man. And that's kind of the direction they're going with these shows, and I'm not sure that's a good thing. That's why I stand by. I really think there should have just been a show called Star Wars: The New Republic. Season 1 was Mando Season 1. Season 2 would be Mando Season 2. Season 3 would be Book of Boba Fett. Season 4 would be Mando Season 3. Season 5 would be Ahsoka. Season 6 would be Skeleton Crew. Season 7 would be Mando Season 4. Season 8 would be Ahsoka Season 2. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. People set themselves up for this show to deliver a conclusive ending with all the answers, even though it was obvious that was never going to happen. I think I agree with you. Let's go back to the poll. The more of you vote. A lot of 9s and 10s. I feel like usually people have a lot of excitement here, so I'm not sure if that's going to continue. 406 votes. Wow. Reliance on other shows is dangerous for the future success of the Disney Plus shows. I really think they need to market Disney Plus differently. Like, really different. Like, The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka. I really think they should have their own little bubble for Mandalorian Season 1. The Mandalorian is going to provide a bit more clarity to people and how to watch and appreciate this era of Star Wars. I agree with the Star Wars, The New Republic title thing, but Mando Season 1 and Season 2 at least should have been its own thing. Yeah, I agree. I just think an issue a lot of people are going to have is that the Ahsoka show is an incomplete story. And not because it left, it had a cliffhanger and there's unresolved story threads that could be resolved in Season 2. It's that so much of this show depends on other stuff. Like, The Mandalorian didn't need to do that at first. It tied into other things, but it was really self-dependent. And then the Book of Boba Fett ruined it. But like Ahsoka, you really need to watch Rebels and Clone Wars. Like, you really need to. And that's the conflicting nature of the show. It's, as a Rebels and Clone Wars fan, I was satisfied with the show. I really enjoyed it. But if I hadn't seen those shows, I cannot imagine being interested in the future of these characters. And that's going to be an interesting challenge that Lucasfilm and Dave Filoni is going to have to navigate. Is that you've built the foundation of the Mando-verse now on having to watch the animated shows. And is that going to be enough to draw in viewers? We'll see. They need a whole Season 2 just to explain what happens to Ahsoka and then the movie. I think it's also interesting because we just don't know. We all assumed that this Dave Filoni movie is going to be like the Heir to the Empire book, where there's just going to be a campaign, right? And they have to stop Thrawn. But now they're bringing in stuff with the Mortis Gods, and Ahsoka and Sabine are trapped on Peridea. It's interesting. Where's Zeb? He'll show up eventually. Also, they don't want too much seasons per show, because with each subsequent season, a show gets more expensive. Curve theory, where I really felt like it started off okay, got really good, and then ended kind of okay. They dropped Baylan, what a waste. I don't think that's fair. They didn't. There's no way they could have expected Ray Stevenson to die. They clearly have more they want to do with the character, and they just have to recast him. And I don't want to sound insensitive, because I think Ray Stevenson did a brilliant job with Baylan Skoll, but I just don't think the character is that hard to play, and I think there's plenty of actors who can also do a great job. We need to discuss that. Super chat from Marcus. Thank you so much, Marcus. Thanks for doing these every week. I haven't been this hyped for Star Wars in a while, and discussing every week was a big part of that. Yeah, the fandom is... being part of the fandom is always fun. And by the way, guys, I will not stop these Tuesday streams. Will I do them every Tuesday? No. But next week, I'll probably do a, 1 week later thoughts and videos. Thought stuff. Oh, by the way, in a week, I will be releasing my Ahsoka video. I haven't given it a title yet because I don't know what to title the video. But I do have the thumbnail. Can I, show you guys the thumbnail? I don't think I can. Not yet, at least. Anyway. Initially, I had it titled as, Star Wars Saved, but I don't think I'm going to go with that. I think I'm going to go with, Ahsoka was almost great. Oh, my computer is lagging. Yeah, I think I'm going to title that, because I really think it had the roots to be great. Can you guys see this? Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Here we go. Almost great. So this will be my thumbnail for the Ahsoka. That'll probably be my title. What else? Happy 15th anniversary to the Clone Wars TV show. And happy 9-year anniversary to the beginning of Rebels. Don't forget that. The Death Troopers had Beskar armor? Apparently so. I don't think they had Beskar, did they? I think we will have an Avengers-like team in the movie with Mando, Bo, the Rebels crew, and Boba. Probably. Do you think this could be tied up by the first Jedi movie being done by Mangold? I don't know. Does the Mortis Gods being in Peridia, is that the origin of the Jedi? But then it's where was Luke? What was Ahch-To? He was at the first Jedi temple, right? Do you think this could be... I already read that. Thrawn will be the new Emperor? Well, his campaign probably won't last that long. How do you feel about the fight choreography in the show? I really liked it. I know people are like, oh, the prequels are the top standard for, choreography. I disagree. I think the prequels were over choreographed. So I like the show. Honestly, Ahsoka got me into Star Wars again. Me too. I'm satisfied. They did Luke dirty. They didn't even mention Luke. Death Troopers didn't have Beskar. Their armor is easily pierced by lightsabers. Has been able to block blasters. I think being shot by a blaster is not the same as being struck by a lightsaber. I guess that's my assumption of the lore. Where's Luke? He's doing stuff. Just so mid, man. The plot, the script, the acting, the costuming, the action, everything just incredibly disappointing. I just don't feel that. Too many action scenes. It feels like the show could waste a little less time. I'm actually liking Thrawn now. I just hope he gets to do the Thrawn things. He will. A hot take, but I really enjoyed Ahsoka's journey in the show, and I think that it made it great. I liked Ahsoka's journey just this show. It was a little lacking. Didn't have Cameron Monaghan bringing a character more to life than Rosario Dawson on my bingo card. I think Rosario Dawson did a great job. Someone summarize I'm not watching? I'm not going to summarize the whole episode, dude. Whatever power Baylan finds could disfigure his appearance. In-universe reason to recast. Would that be in poor taste? I just don't think recasting the character in any way is in poor taste. It's part of the business. What do you really expect Lucasfilm to completely drop the storyline? Again, Ray Stevenson is not Carrie Fisher. Baylan Skoll can and should and will be recast. Episode 5 is a top 5 best fan service in all of cinema/TV shows. Listen, I thought episode 5 was really good. I think episode 4 was the best, and then episode 5. After that, I'd have to really think about it. This is really interesting. I don't know how to feel. I think Ray would understand. Yeah. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's in part of the contract or stuff now. Recast them all. Luke, Leia, Ray. Rhodes was recast. The difference between Rhodey was that the original actor left and then was replaced. The original actor, Terrence Howard, didn't die. If Ray Stevenson was still alive and he's I'm done with the show, I don't want to do it anymore, and he was recast, people would get it just because the actor passed away. The only thing the entire plot achieved was that Thrawn is now let back into his playground and can now do cool Thrawn things. Literally nothing else happened. But there's character development, and that's important. It's Well, would you argue nothing happened in The Mandalorian Season 1? I wouldn't. A lot happened because it's character. A lot happened in this show with Ahsoka and Sabine. They're clearly in a different place than they were in the beginning of the show. It's just whether or not you're invested in those characters. And I think a lot of people aren't, but I guess I am. I just hope Ahsoka for Season 2, we see an episode dedicated just for finding Imperial remnants and the reactions to Thrawn's return. I really think Ahsoka Season 2 is not going to have anything to do with Thrawn. It's like you can't... I just don't think they can do two stories at once like that. There's a difference between a main storyline and multiple subplots. At this point, there would be two plots going on. Ahsoka's and Baylan's and all that, and then Thrawn's. So I don't think Ahsoka Season 2 is going to have anything to do with Thrawn. The character is the most important part of screenwriting, and that is why Andor is a masterpiece. Andor is really good. Hot take, I really enjoyed Ahsoka and liked the show. I don't think it's a hot take. But from all the Mando shows, Ahsoka for me is the worst, and I have no clue or reason why. I think just a lot of people... I think the finale was... I think a finale is really important. I guess it's like a really good ending can affect your perception of a bad movie. And I think that's I think it's the reason why a lot of people like Rogue One, but different conversation. And I think the finale just wrapped things up a little too quickly. Like, Thrawn's back, and we don't really know what to expect. We just know he's back. Ahsoka and Sabine kind of seem just satisfied with staying on Peridia now. And I think that was a little anticlimactic. Like, they kind of just like, oh, we're stuck here. Oh, well, let's move on. Shin, we saw Shin in one shot here. We don't know what's going to conclude with her. And then Baylan, like, they set up the Mortis Gods. And it's like, I think a lot of people expected an answer to what Baylan's been up to all season, and the answer we got was really just a hint, like a clue. Like, oh, it has to do with the Mortis Gods, but what specifically does he want to accomplish? So they could have done more. I think also just the way the Mando-verse works is a little confusing to some. It's like, oh, are they going to continue Thrawn's story in a different show? And then Ahsoka is going to continue on with her and Baylan? Once the next season is released, this ending won't be as disappointing. Yeah, I think I think they kind of went halfway. I really think they should have leaned into the cliffhanger. Like instead of having a satisfying ending where Ahsoka and Sabine are like, oh, we're chilling with the turtles or whatever. I think the season would have been better off if like it ended right after Thrawn's ship left, right? And Ahsoka and Sabine are just like, shit. Like, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, I think it's the ending of the second Hobbit movie, where Bilbo just sees the dragon fly away, and he's like, crap. And it just ends. I think the show really could have benefited from a feeling of dread. Like, shit, we just let Thrawn get back. And then you don't even show Ezra returning to Hera in the New Republic. Like, you don't even see Thrawn return in Dathomir. Like, the Star Destroyer jumps. Ahsoka and Sabine are sitting there. Crap. Cut to black. I think that would have really helped the series out. I think the last few moments just kind of took away from it. When I see the show Sabine and Ahsoka, I like them, but I don't see the original characters from the animated show. It's hard to connect viewers to the connect characters from their animated show to their live action counterparts, so I get that. Having a cliffhanger doesn't have to be unsatisfying. The ending for Mando Season 2 has a lot of loose ends, but it feels so complete and satisfying. That's really different though, Ryan. The ending of Mandalorian Season 2 was really a completion of the story. There was very few narrative threads left. Thrawn's story was clearly the movie. It's clear the movie, Season 2, will be Ezra trying to get Ahsoka and Sabine. It's like, what? They can't do that with Season 2. Season 1 is about Ahsoka and Sabine finding Ezra, and now Season 2 is going to be about Ezra finding them. Like, they can't just repeat that step, especially when they established how hard it was to get there. I guess what Ezra could do is go back to Cetos, find the Purrgil, and then travel in light speed again. Like, that precedent has been established. I just don't agree that Baylan was wasted. This is not the end of his story, people. It's not. Can this chat mention the positives of the finale? I think the episode, like 90% of this episode really worked well. No, he was still very well used. I agree. I think it's just, I really think the passing of Ray Stevenson has impacted people's perception of the show. That we think this is the end of Baylan's story. It's just not. Again, I don't know if this is a hot take, but I will be annoyed. I will be angry if they do not recast Baylan and continue his story. I will be annoyed. Like, they set up interesting things, and I want it to continue. Baylan is not the main character of the show. They can recast him. Baylan's story will more likely be continued in a book. No. I liked Morgan's death. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That fight was awesome. I love this show. It started a bit iffy, but landed in the end. Oh, I think the season would have worked. Oh, I wish I was the editor. I really think. What do you guys think of my change where I said it just ends right there, really with the feeling of dread, and you can tease what Baylan's up to in the beginning of the episode instead of the end. You don't need Ahsoka and Sabine chilling on Peretti at the end. What was your disappointment of the episode, if any? I think my disappointments with this episode are my disappointments with the scope of this season. It's that I don't think. Did I miss a super chat? I feel bad. I completely apologize, Black Ninja. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. What did Baylan find though? That was the missing piece. I don't know if it was an object, Abeloth, or a gate to the world between worlds. Mystery boxes don't make stories. People are kind of been clouded by the J.J. Abrams mystery box stuff. Story threads left over are okay. We got answers that has to do with the Mortis Gods. What specifically we don't know, and that's fine. I think people are traumatized because a lot of people didn't like The Last Jedi or The Rise of Skywalker. So when they hear mystery, they're like, oh no, this is bad. But mystery boxes could pay off well. Absolutely. The ending would have been cool abruptly, but also what works with tying up kind of like Lord of the Rings of Return of the King. The story felt rushed, and I think the runtime was too short. Yeah, I think they tried. I think Filoni wanted to give this season some closure, and I think that bothered a lot of people. I really think the season would have benefited if they just cut it off abruptly. Thrawn's gone. Ahsoka and Sabine are trapped. Shit. Cut to black. Because then I feel like we're not. I think if that happened, then people wouldn't. They would acknowledge we did not get the complete story, and there's more to come. While here it kind of feels like a conclusion, but we know we're gonna get more. But it feels like a conclusion. What we feel in our hearts matter. This feels like a conclusion, and I don't think that was a great way to do it. Star Wars has had mystery boxes. Just wait how they are paid off. Yeah. What's happening with the Chiss ascendancy? I don't think they're going to tie into the Chiss at all. There was little character development in the show, and little character there was vague and only teases something. I disagree. I think Ahsoka's arc was done, again, with context of the animated shows, I thought it was done well. That would have been a cool end. I think a lot of the season was kind of rushed, and Ahsoka needs another season to set up the Mando-verse movie. Yeah, I think we're going to get more. I just don't agree with the notion that the season was rushed. I think parts of the finale were rushed, but with the season as a whole, there's more to come. This is not the ending of the story. My biggest criticism of this show is the lack of color. I get the criticisms of the color grading, but that's just not my place. If the Mortis Gods make a return in Season 2, then maybe Season 1 would just be like the other series' Season 1s. I don't know. I think it's just it's hard to know what's going to happen next. Thrawn's speech to Ahsoka at the end was epic. I really like that. Senator Xiono is going to get destroyed by Ezra? Yeah. Ahsoka went from Ahsoka the Grey to Ahsoka the White throughout the season. Rosario purposely played Ahsoka flat at the beginning, and her character got warmer after Episode 5. Point taken. Okay, I will say the music for the entire ending was, in my opinion, perfect. Yeah, I thought it was done well. I did not. Can I be honest? I just had no. I do not care about seeing Anakin. Like, hey, we saw Anakin again. I mean, I don't like hate it. I just I get a little annoyed with these like shots, lingering shots of like Force ghosts just standing in the background. Like, I want to have a conversation. And does this mean that the what we saw in Episode 5 wasn't really Anakin? I don't know. I used to think Episode 5 was pointless, but I forgot they learned a lesson. Yeah. Do you think Ahsoka will go darker since she had the Blade of Talzin? If Ahsoka is the avatar of light, Morai, does she have a grand purpose? I just don't like that connection, though. And thank you so much for the super chat, Black Ninja. That's 2. Wow, I really appreciate it. So, thank you so much. Yeah, I don't know. I really think the ending is just what's kind of putting a lot of people off. If they paced this out better, we could have got Thrawn leaving in Episode 6, then showed more of Baylan's story. I think Season 2 is going to impact how we view the season. Lots of interesting questions. And what do you guys think is like what do you think is going to happen to Shin? I have no clue what the name of her actress is, but she's still alive. What are they going to do with her? I just think there's interesting stuff to continue the story. And I think the direction, I don't think it's going to have anything to do with Thrawn now. I feel bad for Morgan. I don't. Anakin was awesome, but doesn't improve the episode. The screen time could have been used for something else. Anakin was there for what, 10 seconds? Like, did he really need more screen time? Or was that screen time really wasted on Anakin? I think, hot take, this episode should have been shorter. Like, I think if it just ended abruptly, then it would have been better. Did they ever say what was in the cargo? I think we assume, that it has to do with the zombies. That they're just dead bodies that are going to be resurrected. They should have really effed with people and used Sebastian Shaw as the Force Ghost in the finale. Oh, that would have pissed people off. I wouldn't have minded, but yeah. She will lead the Marauders at the start of the second season and will take Ahsoka's offer to join her. I don't know, maybe. I think Baylan's motives were pretty clear. He didn't like there being nothing truly bringing balance to the galaxy, so he wanted to find something like that on Peridea. Hence, he's on the father statue. That's interesting. I think there's a lot of ways to interpret this episode, and we just have to wait. They have to announce Ahsoka Season 2 soon. Maybe they'll announce it now. Have I missed something on Twitter and they announced Season 2? Oh yeah, and Ahsoka lost her second lightsaber. I forgot about that. So yeah, the Mortis Gods. I really want to focus on the Mortis Gods here, because Dave Filoni is very intentional with what he does. It's so interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't like this idea of like Ahsoka becoming the daughter now. Why? Because she was rescued by her, I guess. Sorry, Goldman had to leave. What are your thoughts on the episode? I really liked it. I think the ending, the last few minutes of the ending, are what's leaving a sour mouth or sour taste in people's mouths. This show kind of feels like the prequels in that it had some annoying issues with directing and acting, but some very fixable writing issues, but also had a bunch of cool and original Star Wars stuff. I agree. I guess we'll see how this ties into Abeloth, maybe. I hear a beeping. Maybe it's upstairs. Did they explain how Thrawn met up with the witches? I think Ezra said he resurrected them somehow. What happened to the forces, my ally? Oh yeah, he's like, no, I'm gonna make a lightsaber now. I'm still a little annoyed that like Sabine is the one keeping Ezra's lightsaber. Like, I don't know. Just give it back to Ezra. Have Sabine make her own lightsaber. I feel Ahsoka won't be the daughter, though. The daughter spirit is sort of with her. Abeloth made the beacon on the mountain. He woke them. How would you feel if they used the World Between Worlds to make the sequels not canon? That's not going to happen. I do not entertain such ideas. When the episode ended, I found myself crying on the toilet in pain. What's this beeping? Okay, it stopped. Does the Vong play a big role in the future films? Maybe in the Rey movie, but I don't think it has to do with stuff prior to the sequels. Do you think Sabine's now gained Force ability will lead to a shitstorm from some special people? I don't know. She's been training. It's been set up. I could have gone without her, like, force pushing Ezra into the Star Destroyer. I think that was maybe a little much, but like her using the Force to pull a lightsaber, I would have preferred if they didn't go down that route, but they did, and it's not something I hate. Where's the Zeb cameo? Zeb wasn't important to the story, right? Ezra didn't take the lightsaber because it's Sabine's now, hence why he made his own. I get that, but no, but it's really his. Like, didn't even use Baylan and Shin. I think that's another part of the reason people were disappointed. It's like Baylan and Shin weren't there. And that surprised a lot of people. It's like Abeloth. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think... Should I do another poll? I'm going to end this one. Just seeing the Mortis Gods here leads so much up to interpretation. So there's the completion. 651 votes. That's awesome. New poll. Is Baylan looking for Abeloth? Is that how you spell the name? Abeloth resurrected Palpatine, but Palpatine like wasn't really resurrected. Got a lot of you guys. Am I gonna have to like really touch up on my Star Wars lore now? Like I really need to research Abeloth. I'm not against it strictly. I just don't know the... Like I'm leaning over, it's bad. I just need to learn more about the character. I get why Baylan and Shin weren't really in this episode, but they were the most intriguing part of the show for me. It does feel underwhelming to get no real payoff there. Yeah, I get that. Also, why didn't Shin go back to the Empire? Like, if Shin went back to Thrawn's ship, would Thrawn been like, no, you stay here? If Ahsoka and Ezra and Sabine got to Thrawn's ship, then Shin could have as well. But Abeloth isn't really anything special. He is just another Force being? I think you mean she. Are you going to do an X years later video on the OT? Eventually, but not anytime soon. Talking about the original films is hard. It's like, what is there to say that hasn't been said for the past 45 years? No one knows who Abeloth is. He must be a reveal for many people to not view. Yeah, it's kind of hard to learn more about Abeloth since she appears in a series that requires dozens of other books to get the full experience. I'm sure there's a YouTube video I can watch. Shin Hati is trending on Twitter. Yeah, she's barely in this episode. I just don't know what to think. It's so interesting. Anyway, I might wrap up the stream in the next 10 minutes. So I'll just answer your guys' comments as we go. Right now it says 54% of you think Baylan is looking for Abeloth. Post-credit scene, I don't believe there was one. I checked. I guess after Mando Season 2 and Book of Boba Fett, they're done with the post-credit scenes. I mean, listen, I guess some people don't like the characters. I just really liked Sabine and Ahsoka in the show. I thought they were done really well. I was intrigued by their characters. I thought they made interesting decisions. They made human decisions. I get people's frustration with Sabine. I thought it was a really good character decision. My one concern is that Sabine needs to face the consequences of her actions. Ahsoka may forgive her, but other people won't. And I hope that's emphasized here. I guess no one knows, though. No one knows besides... Ezra doesn't know. So, I don't know. That's a little disappointing. Thoughts on if we're going to get a season 2? We have to. It's like, how else are they going to continue all these story threads? Like, Sabine now can use the Force. Poor Ahsoka, though. Her clothes are going to get dirty. I guess she does have the ship there with Hu Yang, so... I like Ahsoka's reason for forgiving her. Yeah, me too. I just really think Dawn of the Jedi is going to set up season 2 and provide everything this audience needs to know about these gods. I don't think Dawn of the Jedi is going to come out that soon. Unless we think the Dave Filoni movie is going to come out much later, and it gives us more time with the Mando-verse. Do you think they'll for sure recast Baylan? Yeah, they have to. They can't not recast Baylan. They just can't. They can't drop that story thread. If you're teasing Abeloth and the Mortis Gods, like, you need to conclude it. This is what the last shot we got of Ray Stevenson. I mean, it sucks. I feel bad, but we need to continue his story. Continue Baylan's story. I should do that hashtag. Except the Gonds died in Rebels. They died in Clone Wars. Hera and Carson were with Ahsoka when she realized that what Sabine did to get to the other galaxies, so they know what happened. But in the 6th episode, Ryan Dobson, Ahsoka's like, I didn't tell Hera that Sabine basically gave the map to Baylan. If anyone can use the Force, then Rey's Academy can be much better. It's about commitment and discipline. I'm still not really a big fan of Sabine becoming a Jedi. But, like, it's not something I hate. It's not like series ruining. Like, I think they did it all right. I think they could have just done some more interesting things. In season 2, we'll probably have one plot in the distant galaxy and one in our own with Hera, Ezra, and Thrawn preparing his army for the war in the movie. I think if they did that, it would just be really unfocused. I think the second season should just focus on Ahsoka and whatever they're up to. Baylan. Rest in peace, Ray Stevenson. He did a fantastic job with the character. He will forever be loved by Star Wars fans, and it is a shame to see him go. Bro, the Father's pose was straight up Lord of the Fellowship of their stuff. Yeah, it was. I'm going to have to sleep on this. I'm going to go take a shower, rewatch the episode. I hope they're done with Anakin. I do not need to see any more Anakin. I just really don't. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to probably hop off, take a shower, have a snack, and then rewatch the episode. It's really interesting stuff. Any final thoughts before I hop off? The second season can end with Ahsoka back and seeing the destruction that Thrawn made? Maybe. With how much they set up the new galaxy, they need to focus on that. Yeah. What would you rate it? This episode? I don't know. I need to put discuss my thoughts. And by the way, people, just a reminder, I will be releasing this video a week from today, barring any disasters. Ahsoka, why it was almost great. Not bad. It was almost great. I think that's a good title. I don't know what else to title the video, to be honest. It wasn't bad. I don't think it's bad. I'm not going to say why it sucked. Why it's good. It kind of just... Why it was just okay. But I think it was better than okay. I think the main premise of the series is going to be just like the animated shows. So, but yeah, it's a pretty cool thumbnail, right? Big shout out to Render Driver for making these thumbnails. And I'll have some time. I'm probably going to sleep on it tonight. I'll go to work tomorrow, think about it, and then start writing my script. Okay, everyone. That is it for the stream. I will be continuing these streams, by the way. Next week, I'll do a Ahsoka 1 week later thoughts and just like a Q&A on that. I might do a ranking video of just the 8 episodes. And then after that, I might do a Mando-verse episode ranking. Let me know, like, once I end the stream, the comment section is going to be up. Let me know some stuff you want to you'd like to see me stream about. Because I do want to keep these streams going. Obviously not live discussion streams with Ahsoka, but talking about Star Wars or other stuff. Like I'm not just a Star Wars channel anymore, so I can talk about other things. Anyway, thank you everyone so much for watching another one of my videos. Don't forget to tune in next week for more Gold Band. Don't forget to tonight the Claude Squad, and I will see you guys next time.